I'm Jake, you're watching Gas Guzzlers, and this is the all-new, all-electric 2025 Volvo EX90. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at the exterior features of the EX90. Starting at the front, you might be asking, what's that growth on the top of the car? Well, that is a LiDAR. It's a very advanced sensor that in the future will enable unsupervised driving. Yep, pretty exciting stuff. What makes a LiDAR special is that it can see with much better precision than other sensors like a radar. It's often said that a radar tells you that something is present, whereas a LiDAR can actually tell you what is present. It's very accurate. It can see from very far distances. Volvo says it has centimeter level precision from 820 feet out. Pretty impressive stuff. Let's talk about the other features at the front of the EX90. Of course, we have LED headlights with auto high beam functionality. I really like how they make it look like the lights are going through the bodywork here. Nice design touch. Let's open up your frunk because the Volvo EX90 does have a frunk, which is an increasingly rare feature in electric cars. A lot of them are doing away with the frunk to make more space in the cabin, but we get about a cubic foot of frunk space here in the EX90, which I really appreciate because you can put something like a gym bag in there. Let's talk about the side of the EX90, starting with the strangest key fob I think I've ever seen. There are no buttons on here. Yep, your fingers will lack tactile pleasure, but that's because we live in the age of the digital key. Really, you would be using your phone as a key with this vehicle, and that's going to enable all sorts of cool features, like you can text your key to a friend to let them borrow your car, or you can also lock and unlock the vehicle by approach, right? You just walk up to it, it's gonna detect you that you're standing by the side of the car, automatically unlock and let you in. And that's a good thing because I have found the sensors on the door handles here are quite temperamental and do not always detect when you are touching them to deploy the door handles. That could be because it's cold and my hands just aren't warm enough to trigger the sensors, but you would definitely wanna have your phone with you when using this vehicle. 22-inch wheels here. They have Volvo printed on them. Text on the wheel is bold, but I really like it. I think it complements this otherwise kind of understated exterior. It looks real good. Some awesome technology behind those wheels. We have air suspension and adaptive shock absorbers on this premium model. That means this car is going to be able to tighten up and get real sporty when you need it to do that, but it can also relax and loosen up when you're on the highway. Love that. At the rear of the EX90, we have a kick to open tailgate. I'm very impressed with how well the sensor there works. It always picks up my foot without fail. In the back here, we have 10 cubic feet of space behind the third row. If we put the third row down, we have 23 cubic feet of space behind the second row. Putting the second row down gives us 67 cubic feet of space. I'm impressed with the features back here. We have power folding rear seats. They fold both down and up with power. Okay, a lot of cars at this $90-ish thousand price point have that. But what's really cool is with the air suspension, we can easily lower the car down and raise it back up from the back area. And I'm impressed with how fast this works. Most cars with air suspension take a really long time to charge up their air, but this car, boom, goes right down and right back up, easy peasy. If you're liking the video, like and subscribe to Gas Guzzlers for more weekly automotive content. All right, folks, let's get back into it. There are some quirks to this interior, as with all interiors. A few times I've gotten in here and the glove box has just been open. I don't know why. I close the door, I get out, walk around the car, I come back, the glove box is open. I'm not sure what that is all about. Also, there are cameras in here watching you while you are driving to make sure that you are paying attention. So in the event you fall asleep or get ill, the car will actually stop and try to get you some help. But also it's going to make sure you're paying attention and it's going to tattle on you and give you a little nudge if you're not being a good attentive driver. Other interior features include 2 USB-C ports up here, and in classic Volvo fashion, they have a little ticket holder or parking pass holder on the windshield so you can display parking items very easily. I think the second row is the best part of the interior of the EX90. These captain's chairs are very comfortable. Default setup is going to be a bench 7-seater vehicle, but we have the captain's chairs and 6 seats here. And since we have the captain's chairs, we have these cool armrests with a pop-out cup holder. I think that's a very sleek design, and we have 2 additional cup holders down here. We have quad zone climate controls, so each passenger back here gets their own climate control, and all of the EX90s are going to have this big glass roof, which lets in a lot of light. Let's check out the third row of the EX90. We have a shoulder mounted lever on our second row seat, and then I can climb in easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now, because we have the captain's chairs here, you can kind of stick your knees in the middle, but this is not a space made for a 6-foot-tall adults like myself, right? My head's hitting the roof, my legs are touching the seat here. This is a space more intended for kids, but those kids are going to be riding in style because you have your own air vents back here, and you have USB-C charging, and you don't feel that clumped in back here because you have a decently sized rear window and this big glass roof, so it feels like you're in the cabin with everyone else and you're not just locked in a dungeon in the back like it feels like in some other third row vehicles, or well, most other third row vehicles. Let's talk power plant. We have a 111 kilowatt hour battery pack. The EPA says that's going to do about 300 miles, but the vehicle's computer is currently saying that it has 320-ish miles of range. Charging from 10 to 80% takes about 30 minutes with fast charging, and we have 517 horsepower and 671 pound-feet of torque on this dual motor variant, which also gives you all-wheel drive. The EX90 also has bi-directional charging, which means it can plug into your house and provide power to your house at times when power is expensive. Let's take a look at your giant 14.5-inch infotainment display. It's in the vertical phone layout, which is my preferred layout. This is a great display. Volvo pioneered Google built in, right? Having all the Google apps as your default apps rather than having an automaker version of them. And well, they have brought back a Google built in here, and it's very well done. The benefit of Google built in is just that Google knows what they're doing when it comes to technology, and their in-car apps, like their maps, are quite good. We have some interesting Volvo apps here though. For example, we can take a look at our range here and see what our maximum and minimum range is, see what the effect of our climate is. As you can see, we're getting 320 miles of range here. We'll see if that's too optimistic or not. We also have YouTube here, so you can look up YouTube and you can look up your favorite YouTuber. So let's pull up one of our videos here. There we are. Oh, look at that. Look at that. And just like that. Look at that handsome fella. Climate controls are located here at the bottom of the screen. As you can see, we can quickly bring up our fan information here. And we can set our climate to automatic is what I think most people will just keep it on. But what's really cool is the air purifier. We have an air purifier here in the EX90. As you can see, we have an indoor measurement and outdoor measurement, and you can turn on air purification systems if you would like. In addition, we have our camera system here. As you can see, we have a 3D camera, very fancy, and we can also look at the front or the reverse camera, easy peasy. We have a button for our glove box here that's always opening on me whether or not I press the button, but there you go. You can also do that. Very useful. You have to manually set it back up. And finally here we have some basic vehicle settings. So interesting thing here is you can get to your 1-pedal drive pretty quickly, set that to on, off, or auto, and you can turn on constant all-wheel drive if you're in some snowy conditions or something like that. This is also where you adjust your mirrors, your steering wheel, etc. Everything is very centralized right here. Here's our driver display. It looks pretty boring, right? Pretty standard. You got your speed limit and your speedometer there. It is boring until you hit this button, and then we get some cool screens coming up. So check this out. Boom, we can get our Google Maps right in the center. This is one of my favorite features of any new vehicle. Putting the map right in your gauge cluster makes navigating so much easier. If we hit it again, we can see exactly what the car is seeing with all of its fancy cameras and sensors. Our heads-up display there is going to project our speed limit and our speedometer right on the road, so it's nice and easy to see. All right, folks, how about we go for a ride in the Volvo EX90? Let's get on the throttle here. And you know what? Having this dual motor variant does make the acceleration feel way quicker than your average 3-row SUV. I mean, putting down 500 horsepower certainly makes this thing no slouch. The one pedal driving is proving fairly intuitive to use. It always takes a little bit of finagling to get used to one pedal driving, but I think they have their balance figured out pretty well here. I'm immediately impressed with this sensor view right in front of me. The only vehicle that I think is anywhere close to this degree of awareness in the center display when it comes to showing you a 360-degree view of the vehicle is Tesla. I think that's the only brand that has something to really compare to this. Very impressive. Cabin isolation is what I would expect from this vehicle, and that's a very high standard that I expect from an $87,000 3-row luxury product, and this meets that. It's very quiet. I don't hear the tire noise. There is a railroad right next to me, and this even manages to block out some of the noise of the trains. The cars next to me cause only the tiniest of whispers when they pass. It's very quiet in here, and bumps are also isolated from the cabin. They did a good job of keeping the outside out and keeping the inside in. Volvo's range estimates do seem to be a bit optimistic. Right now, I've gone about 2, maybe 3 miles, and I've lost a lot more range than that. I think Volvo's range estimates are probably based on WLPT or a test that is a bit less rigorous than the EPA's range testing, which tends to be a bit more realistic. But hopefully, as this car learns my driving a little bit more, that range estimate will get a little bit more realistic. Now it's time to get on the highway. I'm really excited to see how the Volvo EX90's driver assist features work. So I don't think merging is going to be an issue with the amount of power this thing has, but let's jump on the highway and see what happens. And immediately I am more restricted by the car in front of me than this vehicle's own passing power. I don't think you will ever be limited by your own passing power in the EX90. Just putting the pedal down, it doesn't have that real feeling that a lot of electric cars have. It's a much more refined power delivery, but you can still feel that there's a lot of torque there. It's just being delivered in a more elegant manner than some of the more sport-focused electric offerings that you can buy. The turn signals in here are very frustrating. They're the same kind of soft turn signals that like BMW used to use, where when you press them down, they don't stay down, they return to your normal position, and then it keeps clicking and clicking and clicking, and you press it down again to try to stop it, but that doesn't work, so you gotta like half press it down to fully stop it. Just use old-fashioned turn signals. Let's see if we can activate pilot assist. I'm gonna press down our right bumper here, and the vehicle is now controlling our steering, and it's controlling our speed. The turn signal's still on because the soft turn signal thing is terrible. I'm kind of bouncing around the lane a little bit. It seems a little unsure of itself, but it is working. Here we go. I can feel it. It's starting to find itself a little bit. It's starting to center itself more in the lane. Still bouncing around a little bit. I think this could use a little bit of work, but that's the great thing about software updates, right? Volvo's pitching. This car is going to get a lot of software updates. Now that I've given the car some time to settle in, it does seem to kind of be getting a little bit better, getting a little bit of hang of things here. All right, just put on the turn signal, and it did perform a lane change for me. That was pretty cool. The car, okay, so the car did a lane change for me. I suspect that's why they're using the soft turn signals. They're still annoying to use, but maybe you'll get used to it. But it's probably easier to just use a soft turn signal so that the car can automatically turn on and off its own signaling when driving with that pilot assist feature activated. Now, sticker on this vehicle is $87,000. That is a lot of money. There's no way around it, even for new car prices. However, this is a luxury product, and it's kind of a niche, right? For a 3-row electric SUV, there are not many competitors yet, and those that do exist are equally expensive because it just takes a lot of power and technology and engineering to make something this large go 300 miles on an electric battery. Also, the interior is really well done, and it's made with sustainable materials. There's just a lot of features in this vehicle that I think do justify that premium price point. Let me know what you think about the EX90 in the comments below. I'm Jake, you're watching Gas Guzzlers, and this is the Volvo EX90. We'll see you in next week's video.